Why do we pause? Before eating? Before the first bite? Before the taste? Before the body receives food? What are we really preparing? In Japanese Zen culture, there is a short reflection, often spoken before a meal. It is called Gokan-no-ge. It is known as 5 reflections before eating, but this video is not a detailed explanation of each line, and it is not a religious lesson. Here, we will read Gokan-no-ge as a quiet structure of questions, not as an answer, but as a way to return to the body before eating. Imagine a simple meal placed in front of you, a bowl, a pair of chopsticks, warm steam rising slowly. For a moment, nothing happens. The hand does not move yet. The mouth does not begin yet. The body is still between receiving and acting. This moment is small, but it is not empty. Something is already changing. Attention begins to gather. The eyes notice the food. The breath becomes easier to feel. The body begins to sense where it is. In modern life, we often think eating begins when food enters the mouth, but perhaps eating begins earlier. Before the first bite, there is a state of the body. There is speed. There is tension. There is hunger. There is distraction. There is gratitude. There is habit. And all of these come to the table with us. Gokan-no-ge is often understood as 5 reflections before eating. It asks us to look at the food, to notice the effort behind it, to look at our own state, to consider how we receive, and to remember that eating is not separate from the way we live. In this sense, Gokan-no-ge is not only a prayer of gratitude. Gratitude is part of it, but it can also be read as a way of preparing attention. Before eating, we are invited to ask, where did this food come from? What kind of life made this meal possible? What is the state of my own body right now? Am I rushing? Am I tense? Am I truly here? These questions do not need quick answers. They are not meant to judge us. They are meant to bring us back to the table, back to the food, back to the body. This is why Gokan-no-ge matters in Zen biology, not because it gives us a rule for eating, not because it tells us what food is correct, but because it changes the place from which eating begins. If we eat while rushing, the body receives not only food, but also speed. If we eat while distracted, the body receives not only nutrients, but also scattered attention. If we eat while tense, the meal may be present, but the body may not feel fully ready to receive it. This does not mean we must eat perfectly. It does not mean every meal must become a ritual. Life is not always quiet. Sometimes we eat quickly. Sometimes we eat while working. Sometimes we eat while thinking about something else. That is part of modern life. But Gokan-no-ge offers a small doorway. Before eating, we can notice, just for a moment, the shoulders, the breath, the hands, the eyes, the speed inside the body. We can notice whether we are already leaning forward into the next task. We can notice whether the body is tight or open or simply tired. We can notice whether we are eating because the body is asking or because the mind is still searching for something. This is not about control. It is not about forcing calm. It is not about making the body behave. It is about reading. The body is always giving small signs, but when life is too fast, those signs become quiet. A pause before eating does not solve everything, but it can make the body easier to hear, and this is where Zen biology begins. Not with a perfect diet, not with a perfect method, but with the question, can I notice the state of the body before I ask it to receive something? Food enters the body, but eating is also shaped by attention, by posture, by breath. By the way, we arrive at the table. When we see eating only as nutrition, we may ask, what should I eat? But when we see eating as a relationship, we may also ask, how am I receiving? This question is quiet, but it changes the way we look at the meal. The moment before eating becomes a mirror. It shows us how we are living, not in a dramatic way, but quietly. Before digestion, before taste, before the first bite. In the quiet moment, when we return to what is already here, the food, the body, the breath, the life that connects them. Eating begins before food enters the body. And in the next episode, we will look at why the state of the body can change the way digestion feels.